And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're running our broadcast here with fantasy football a little bit later today as we had a tribute to Lawrence Moten, and that's why I'm wearing my hometown Syracuse jersey. This is my favorite number, 21, and it is also the number worn so very well by Mr. Lawrence Moten. So appreciate you, Lawrence, and you can see it right there in the full effect. And you can also see the old Syracuse S that I love so very much. I actually miss having this S, so you can see it right there. Would love if they brought that back, even if it was just for like a throwback jersey night or something like that. So very happy to be here with you and appreciate your patience. As I said, that tribute to Lawrence Moten took precedence over all of this, as it should. And so I'm happy to be here with you to now bring you our Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. You can head out to the Wildcat to watch all the games. And of course, you can watch Major League Baseball, the NBA as it comes back, as well as the WNBA, the NHL in its return, college football right now, college basketball upon its return. So many things you could do at the Wildcat. You can have birthday parties there, hang out with family and friends, go on a date. So many wonderful things happening at the Wildcat. So make sure you make your way out to the Wildcat today. Let them know that DT sent you, and I appreciate them so very much. Shout out to Danny Tome and the team and the many years that we have worked together. Of course, you're with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and we're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com for live internet streaming radio. So however you're connected with us, we appreciate you so much for being a part of the show, and I honestly cannot thank you enough for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So, as I said, Great Lakes Honda City Studios, make sure you head out to Great Lakes Honda City all throughout the week, Monday through Saturday. They're open for sales and service. You can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com and let them know that DT sent you when you head over there. They have all different vehicles for different needs for whatever your family or you individually are looking for. They have so many wonderful things, a one-stop shop to find the vehicle that's right for you. And, I've utilized the Honda product for so many years, and I love it. I appreciate it. I feel safe in it. So I implore you to go over to Great Lakes Honda City and find your ride today. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't trust them. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't value what they bring to the table. So make sure you go visit them today. Let them know that DT sent you. And I appreciate everybody that's trusted us over the years and has gone out to Great Lakes Honda City. With that being said, it's time to jump into our fantasy football coverage for week 5 of the 2025-26 season. If you have a question, send it in to us. You can send it to our Facebook feed, to the video specifically, or to the video here on YouTube. And you can also feel free to send it over to us on our internet streaming radio. If you go to wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, you can obviously send it through there as well. And that gives you an opportunity to connect with us. And you can write in the live feed for the internet radio stream, because there is a feed there as well. And I just ask you to write to the stream specifically so that we can make sure that I actually see your question so that I may answer your question. So make sure you send that over today to us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So as we get ready to bring that up, and I'm going to have a bunch of different screens that I'm looking at here on the broadcast, and the reason why I'm bringing all of these up is to make sure I don't miss a question that you may have coming in. So make sure you send it over to us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And of course, we are here for NFL Week 5. And so now, as we're there with that advice, I look forward to having your questions come in. And like I said, I know some people, you're used to having us right around 10 a.m. Eastern time, but our tribute to Lawrence Moten had to take precedence over that, and I appreciate you all for respecting that. So let's jump into it here. We always do the road team first. We're going to go on your screen from the top to the bottom, from the left to the right, and all the way down left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way to Monday Night Football. So this is the first bye week of the season. So make sure you make a note of this and put all of these players and or kickers and defenses on your bench, because Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh are all off this week. 3 teams in the NFC, 1 team in the AFC, so make sure you make note of that. And the Week 5 of the NFL 2025-26 season is going to start with San Fran at LA. The Niners on the road after their first loss of the season, which was with the return of Brock Purdy. So Mac Jones did well, helped the team to 3-0. Brock Purdy, their starter, comes back, and they lose the game to Jacksonville. And so now the Niners have a loss at 3-1, and they'll face off against the Los Angeles Rams, who I still think are underrated at times. But the Los Angeles Rams, as we take a look at where they stand right now, this is a divisional matchup for Thursday Night Football in the NFC West. The Niners are 3-1. The Rams are also 3-1. The Seahawks are 3-1. And the Cardinals are 2-2. There's nobody winless in the division, and everybody has at least 2 wins. And then you have 3 teams that are 3-1. So this has huge implications early on in the season for what could happen down the road. And so as we look at that, we're going to first and foremost look at the Niners, as they are the road team, and the San Francisco 49ers, like I said, coming off of a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which a lot of people did not see happening. I'm a longtime Jaguars fan, but as I told you, impartial broadcaster. So I don't think that it is right. I think it's a cardinal sin to be someone who is in the media that is partial. And I think you got to remain impartial, and that's always been important to me. So even though I am a Jaguars fan from day 0, before they even played it down, I'm right there with them. Pretty much. I mean, I was with them from when they came into the league in 1995 to now, but I still picked San Fran to win the game this past week. So shout out to my Jaguars for proving me wrong, because the fan in me thanks you. So Brock Purdy didn't practice yesterday. He's questionable this week to play. He has a toe injury, so just monitor that, because Mac Jones could be going out there, and he was a full participant at walkthrough. Obviously, we're praying and hoping the best for Brock Purdy. I was about riding the hot hand. I thought they should have stayed with Mac Jones. Speaking of the Niners, I thought they should have stayed with him and not moved over to Brock Purdy. Even with Brock Purdy being ready to go and healthy to go, my argument was that they should ride the hot hand and have Mac Jones play for the first half against the Jaguars. And if he's doing well, then leave him in and let Brock continue to heal up on the sideline and rest up on the sideline. But if things weren't going well and they needed to make a switch, that they could do that at halftime, right? I would have stayed with Mac Jones because he was doing so well, and I would have only brought in Brock Purdy if things weren't working out with Mac Jones. And they did not do that. They went with Brock Purdy. They didn't ride the hot hand, and Brock Purdy's still on the injury report. So now looking at that side of it too, I'm like, okay, maybe they should have waited and should have given him a little more time to heal up, because I don't like the fact that he played, but we're still seeing him on the injury report. So hopefully Brock will be okay, but we know that Mac is more than ready to go in if he has to, as he aided the team to a 3-0 start this season. So a lot of credit and love goes to him for that. And those of you that know me know that I'm also a fan of Brock Purdy and the work that he's done. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this game. We'll go with San Fran first. I like Christian McCaffrey in the matchup. There's been a lot of injuries. Juwan Jennings' ankle injury didn't practice on Tuesday, and the knee PCL injury to Ricky Pearsall has him questionable with a knee injury. So Juwan's questionable, Brock's questionable, Ricky's questionable. I think the only person I feel really good about you playing this week is Christian McCaffrey, CMC. And then if you're in a deep league and you got to throw somebody out there, a Kendrick Bourne, a Demarcus Robinson, maybe a Sky Moore, Maybe you flex or Marquez Valdez-Scantling. If you need a fourth receiver this week, maybe that's a guy that you flex out. But hopefully you don't have to be in that position. Really, CMC is the only one I feel good about in this Thursday night matchup, just due to all the injuries and things that are going on. And then as far as the Rams go on their end of it, Matty Stafford, as we take a look at him, and I feel like there's not enough fanfare around Matt Stafford. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe out in LA, it's a little bit more prevalent, right? But they just beat the Colts, handing the Colts their first loss of the season. So we talk about the Niners having their first loss of the season to the Jaguars. Well, the Rams handed the Colts their first loss at home in Los Angeles. They beat them, so now the Colts are 3-1 and the Rams are 3-1. Matt Stafford in the game, 29 of 41, 375, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Puka Nacua was targeted 15 times, caught 13, 170 yards, a touchdown. Tutu Atwell from Louisville that I covered there. One catch on 2 targets, and it was a touchdown. Devontae Adams had a touchdown. He continues to do well in LA with Cooper Kupp being gone and Devontae coming in. Kyron Williams, 5.9 yards a carry, didn't get in the end zone, but he had 77 yards on 13 carries. So I like a lot of this offense here. And, I think San Fran's defense is something you might want to play. They might get a takeaway in this game, so you could look at playing San Fran's defense. I would also look at playing the Rams defense because of the injuries that are there for the San Francisco 49ers. I like Matt Stafford. I'm going to call him there's some quarterbacks that are off this week. I'm going to call him, I'll say, he's a QB1 to me. I'll call him a mid-range QB1. I guess I feel okay with that. I keep thinking call him a low-end QB1 because I don't think a lot of people necessarily even drafted him, but in some leagues might just have him out there in free agency, but I don't know. I think he's good, and he's obviously continuing to play well. So Jimmy Garoppolo, by the way, former Niner, is backing him up with Stetson Bennett, who is at Georgia. So I do like Matt Stafford in the game. And not as much as I like maybe some other quarterbacks out there, but I like him because he's done well. And again, I think he's a little sleeper. I like Devontae Adams. I like Puka Nacua. It's weird to call Stafford a sleeper, but again, he's not necessarily being drafted in leagues this year. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, all worth the play. And I think Matt Stafford is too. I don't know if he's going to get you a crazy high day, but I do look at Matt Stafford and say, he's talented enough to think about from week to week, and I'm sorry for not circling that before. We always circle the game we're talking about, but I don't know. I like him in this game. I feel like I want to call him a low-range 1. That's my gut, so I guess I will, but, he's good, and I think he's going to get the ball out to a bunch of guys, and I like Kyron Williams, and I like Puka, and I like Devontae Adams. So the London game is going to take us to a Saturday morning game at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The Minnesota Vikings will face off against the Cleveland Browns. It's considered a Cleveland home game, even though they're both going to be overseas. But as you know, somebody has to give up a home game in order to do this. So the Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns facing off in their matchup. We'll go to Minnesota first. J.J. McCarthy, he's doubtful with his ankle injury. I'm sick and tired of this guy being injured, and I'm frustrated about it, and it just stinks. I want to see him get well. I want him to be healthy. I want him to stay healthy. It's very frustrating to me, and I'm sure it's frustrating to fans. It's frustrating to him. It's frustrating to his family to not see him out there. People were so high and so excited to see him finally get some playing time after his rookie season he didn't play in because he was injured. So this is essentially his first season playing in the NFL, and here he is injured again. So God willing, J.J. McCarthy will heal up fast, heal up completely, and for good, so we can actually see him on the field, because it's just sad. I was really, really looking forward to seeing him play, and I hope he gets back out there soon, because I don't want to see anybody hurt, and I definitely look to him and say, it was a road for him to just be on the field this season and to go through that whole road and then have to be sitting here waiting again to get out there is just really unfortunate. So hopefully things will get better, and they'll get better quickly so that we can see J.J. McCarthy on the field. But once again, he's doubtful, so probably Carson Wentz. Desmond Ritter's on the team now with Max Brosmer as well. And I like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I'm not gonna. I mean, when we look at Minnesota this year, Justin Jefferson's a guy where you think like anybody should be able to get this guy the ball, right? I mean, he's a talented player. He's one of the best receivers in the entire nation. So the expectation is that we would see him get the ball. But let's look at the most recent game. They lost to the Steelers 24-21, speaking of Minnesota, and just look at it by the numbers. Carson Wentz was 30 of 46, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mason was 16 for 57, 3.6 yards a carry. But Justin Jefferson, 11 targets, caught 10, 126 yards. Addison, 8 targets, caught 4, had 114 yards on just 4 catches, averaging almost 30 yards a catch, which is insane. And then Xavier Scott had a touchdown out of the backfield and didn't do anything in the backfield, 2 carries for 1 yard, but did get a touchdown out of the backfield. So that's something to look to as well. In this matchup against Cleveland, I'm going to call Jordan Mason a running back 2. I'm going to call Xavier Scott's a flex, a 3 or a 4. Probably better this week because they're playing Cleveland, but it's also what team acclimates itself better to being overseas. That's the other part you have to look at it is you are going overseas. Yes, you're playing the Browns. Yes, the Browns are known to struggle. And yes, the Browns are an enigma because they'll beat the Packers and then you'll look at the Browns and be like, okay, but then they don't look like they'll be strong against a team that maybe you thought that they were going to lose to, and then they'll disappear again, and you're wondering where the heck they went. So I think that, this is a game where we also have to pay attention to the fact, and we got our first question that came in here. So Notorious, I saw your question. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll get to your question in just a moment. But again, yes, it's Cleveland, but which team is going to get acclimated to going overseas? Who got there a little bit earlier? What's the regimen? What are they doing to get themselves comfortable? Because this is a true road game for both teams, even though, like I said, Cleveland is considered the home team. They're both overseas. So I like Justin Jefferson. I like Jordan Addison. I like TJ Hawkinson. And I would say Jordan Mason, a running back 2, Xavier Scott. Hopefully you can flex him out if you have a deep team there. Now, looking at the Cleveland Browns, I called this. I said eventually this season I thought we would see Dillon Gabriel start. Now, when they still had Kenny Pickett, I thought maybe they'll go Joe Flacco and then to Kenny Pickett. But eventually I thought we would see Dillon Gabriel get the nod, that we were going to see a rookie quarterback out there for the Browns. Well, they're going to be overseas, and they are going with Dillon Gabriel. I have a lot of respect for Dillon Gabriel, and he's somebody that I had the opportunity to cover at UCF and see what he was doing there. Then he went on, and he was successful there. Then he went on to Oklahoma, and he was successful at Oklahoma. And then, of course, going into the college football playoff last year, he was leading the only team in the country of all FBS schools of 130 plus that was undefeated going into the postseason. So a big-time shout-out to Dillon Gabriel, who was there at Oregon. He was a third-round pick by the Cleveland Browns, which was overshadowed by the fact that they drafted Shedeur Sanders. And I don't want to take anything away from Dillon Gabriel, but I mean, listen, this guy's probably had a chip on his shoulder his entire career because people talk about everybody else but him. And that's okay because he's going to go out there and he's going to do some good things. I think that he's going to surprise people in a positive way. If he makes some mistakes, he's a rookie quarterback. Don't say it's because he's Dillon Gabriel. It's because he's a rookie. Okay, the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, is 0-4. So don't say anything about Dillon Gabriel that you know what I mean? I mean, if you understand that Cam Ward's going to struggle and that anybody struggles coming in, typically, very rarely do you see a freshman NFL quarterback come out there and automatically get it done. Peyton Manning didn't do it. Guys had to wait their turn, and it took time. Some guys, when you finally saw them, that got to take time, like Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre, then we did see some success. And a good morning to everybody out there. And so Notorious said, what did the Vikings do to warrant 2 overseas games back-to-back? I don't get it. You know what it is the Jaguars have more than anybody, Notorious TBG. And by the way, I love the YouTube name, Cool name. Playing on Notorious B.I.G., so I respect it. But we know that the Jaguars obviously have a good relationship with being overseas, and they've been a trusted member to go over there and do that. So we've seen them more than anybody else. And then why Minnesota? I mean, I think it may come down to who's willing to do it. You know, it may come down to with the NFL who wants to do it. Now, I can't speak for it because I'm not on the room on the inside. I can only tell you my thoughts from the outside. But I look to the NFL. I mean, I am an accredited member of the NFL of many years, but I'm not in that room with Minnesota and the NFL talking about this. But there are some teams that go over more often than others, and maybe it's just a willingness. You know, it could just be a willingness to do so. I'm not 100% sure, Notorious, but my guess is maybe that's what it comes down to, because we know that the Jaguars have been very willing to do it over the years. Before we saw other teams doing it, before we saw other countries involved, we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars doing it. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Notorious, to answer your question, drop Fannin for Waller. Here's the thing. Every quarterback has their guy. And we know that Fannin and Judy have both been sharing catching the ball for Cleveland in these first few weeks. So I wouldn't necessarily want you to drop Fannin, because what if Dylan Gabriel's even better with him? Because we don't know if Gabriel's going to go in Njoku or Fannin. And I always tell people, when you have a backup quarterback that's stepping in for the first time, look to the running back and look to the backfield and look to the tight end, because I feel like those are places where they can go as a safety net, guys that are close to the line that they can rely on. So maybe he goes to Njoku, maybe he goes to Harold Fannin. So I don't know if I want you to necessarily do that. I do want you to pick up Darren Waller. So Notorious, what'll help me is for you to tell me, do you have any other tight ends on your team? And is there anybody else on your team that you would be willing to drop to pick up Darren Waller? Because I like you picking up Darren Waller. I don't like you dropping Harold Fannin. So maybe there's another way to do it. Maddie said, Biggie from New York and Syracuse in New York. Pretty sure you grew up listening to him. Yeah, I did grow up listening to Biggie. I listened to Biggie, and obviously whatever he's chosen in his life up to this point. But when I was a kid, I listened to Diddy. A lot of people did. And I listened to Mace. And I can say of the three of them that Mace was always my favorite. And anyone can vouch for me on that one. Big time fan of Mace. So let's go to Cleveland side. I wouldn't start Dylan Gabriel in this game. Let him get comfortable and have some time. And like I said, every quarterback has their guy. So I like Jerry Jeudy's the safest bet of any Cleveland skill player that I would tell you to put out there. Now, Isaiah Bonds, who I covered in the college football playoff, he's a rookie out of Texas coming from Buford, Georgia, and playing for the University of Texas. He might come up here. And then Jamari Thrash, this is another guy to look to for Cleveland, and covered him at Louisville, and he's in his second year. So we don't know who the other guy is going to be besides Dylan Gabriel, but I would say not Dylan Gabriel, besides Jerry Jeudy, who Dylan Gabriel is going to throw to. Cedric Tillman's on the injury report, unfortunately, and so is DeAndre Carter and David Bell, so just remember that. Malachi Corley, who was drafted by the Jets and let go pretty quickly, he's out there as well. And, Jerry Jeudy's the one that I would circle if you're going to play anybody from the Browns this week. And then David Njoku and Harold Fannin is a toss-up, because they haven't separated themselves on who the guy's going to be. So, and Notorious, I saw your response, so I'll get to it in just a second, but this kind of helps to answer your question as well. When you look at Harold Fannin, 6 targets, 2 catches, 24 yards, and then Njoku, 3 targets, 2 catches, 11 yards. So they both had 2 catches in the game, but Fannin was targeted more by Flacco. Gabriel only came in for 1 pass. And then Isaiah Bond was leading the way with 58 yards, 6 targets, 3 catches, but Jerry Jeudy still had the most targets with 9 targets and 3 catches. And he did more with less. Well, I shouldn't say he did more with less. He was targeted more, but he had the same amount of catches as Isaiah Bond. He just had 10 less yards. So he didn't do more with less. He had the same, but had 10 less yards. So yeah, Isaiah Bond is a guy that you might want to grab and stash as a little sneaky pickup, a little free agent pickup that'll make people in your league go, why the heck did they do that? And you say, because I listen to Wake Up Calls Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. That's what you tell them. So, or you could just say very simply, DT said that maybe I should do this. I like Njoku. I like Fannin. I like Fannin a little bit more than Njoku right now this season. So feet to the fire, if you had to play one of these tight ends, and let's say that you, because this is the first bye week, so let's say you have Kyle Pitts of Atlanta, or you'll have Colston Loveland of Chicago, or, you have the Muth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, if you have one of those guys that's out there, then you might make a move to want to start one of these Cleveland Browns guys if that's your other guy. And if I had to choose, I'd say Harold Fannin Jr. But the only Brown that I feel the best about right now in Dylan Gabriel's first NFL start would be Jerry Jeudy at this moment in time. And like I said, he may go to the rushing attack, but is it going to be Quinshon Judkins or Jerome Ford or Dylan Sampson? They're all healthy to play right now. So, Judkins, 21 carries, 82 yards and a touchdown. Ford had 1 carry and Sampson had 1 carry. So if I had to pick right now, it'd be Judkins, but I'm hoping you can flex him out as a running back 3, maybe a low end 2, high end 3 this week. We did get some thoughts that came in. Thank you for all your questions, as always. I appreciate it. And thank you for navigating with me today, because the Fantasy Football Power Hour started late because I was doing a tribute to a friend of mine and a friend of many of ours in Lawrence Moten. So thank you for your patience today. So let's see what we got here. Maddie said, we start Hawk. TJ Hawkinson against Cleveland. I would say yes. Then Notorious said that he subscribed. Thank you. And more context. Thank you. I always tell people more context, the better. So he said 12-team full PPR, Judkins starting. Don't like 2 Browns players. Lost Tyreek. Sorry for that. And obviously we pray a very speedy and healthy recovery and a full recovery for Tyreek Hill, and God bless to him and his family in Jesus' most precious name. Amen. We pray for him and his loved ones. You got George Kittle on IR. Bench spots include, I guess that's Io Manor, and then Hollywood Brown, I'm guessing here, and then Charbonnet, Troy Franklin, Kendra Miller, and Rashee Rice. Okay. I would say, Kendra Miller has been getting more involved. Chase Brown. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, because if you send me a name that a bunch of guys have, I don't know exactly who it is. So again, context is better. And Frizz, I just mentioned Isaiah Bond, so I will actually talk with you about that in a second, because I just literally said on the show, if you pick up Isaiah Bond and people say, who is that? And you say, DT told me to. So we'll talk about that in a second. But in Notorious, I'm going to look at... Okay. George Kittle on IR, so I understand why you want to keep him. I'm not really sold on Rashee and the level of consistency that he'll bring you. But I do like Darren Waller. So I don't know, man. If there's anybody that I would look at dropping, if it wasn't Fannin, I would look at dropping Rashee. But I don't want you to drop Fannin. And then Frizzle, I think that you subscribed already, but if you didn't, make sure you do. But I think you did, because I remember seeing your name. Fannin and Strange on waiver. I already got Juwan Johnson. I'm good, right? What about Isaiah Bond? So, Frizzle, who's your backup tight end? This is my question to you. Do you have one? And make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I think you did, but just in case. So, Fannin and Strange are on waiver. You already have Juwan. So he said, going to be a rough week. I have to start 2. Keon Coleman, Darius Slayton, or Isaiah Bond. You got to start 2 of those? You don't have a backup tight end. Okay. So, you got Juwan Johnson. But I like Brenton Strange and I like Harold Fannin. So I would probably say feet to the fire, Fannin over Strange. But Juwan Johnson, I've been saying for years, just needs a guy to throw to him consistently because I think he's good. Oh, and thank you for subscribing, Frizzle. I appreciate you. So, yeah, I mean, Juwan Johnson just needed someone to keep throwing to him because, to me, he was going to be a good fantasy target. He just wasn't getting the ball consistently. What about Isaiah Bond? So, yeah, if you got to start two, then I would tell you to start Keon Coleman and Isaiah Bond of the three you gave me, Frizzle. Of Slayton, Coleman, and Bond, I would say Coleman and Bond of those three. Let's go to Houston at Baltimore. Some, to us, we would think that this is going to be a playoff game, right? But Houston hasn't played well at all. They just beat a terrible Tennessee team, and I said that they would win that game because they were both 0-3, but Tennessee is worse than Houston. The irony is the Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans, and then Houston got a new franchise in the Texans. So it's kind of like the team that they're playing, where Baltimore Ravens are the old Cleveland Browns, and then Cleveland got a new franchise and called it the Browns again, but the actual Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Ravens. Craziness. So in this game, I don't think C.J. Stroud's the guy that I'm going to tell you to put out there. And I mean, they're playing Baltimore's harassment defense. I like Baltimore's defense and special teams in this game. So if you're in a league like ours where you don't have individual defensive players, you have team defense and special teams, I'd look at doing that. Houston beat Tennessee 26-0 after losing at the Rams, against the Bucs, and at the Jaguars. So it is a divisional win for them, which is good. How about this for Houston, though? They won this game 26-0, but it took them a while to get the majority of their points. They got 3 points in the first, 3 in the second, no points scored in the third quarter, and 20 scored in the fourth quarter. C.J. Stroud, 22-28, 233, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But the thing is, it was against arguably the worst team in the NFL. Now, Woody Marks got involved a lot from the backfield. 17 carries, 69 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, a touchdown, and he had a touchdown receiving. So he got a touchdown rushing, touchdown receiving, 5 targets in the passing game, 4 catches, 50 yards. And then Nico Collins continues to get involved. 6 targets, 4 catches, 79 yards, led the team. Dalton Schultz, 6 targets, 5 catches, 30 yards, good for PPR. Jaden Higgins had a touchdown on only 1 catch, 1 target for 24 yards. Christian Kirk, 4 targets, 3 catches, 20 yards. So, I mean, for Houston, I'm going to say, I mean, if you're going to play Nick Chubb or Woody Marks, let them be a running back 3 for you. Let him be a flex. I like Nico Collins. And I'm going to call Dalton Schultz, I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. On the other side of it, Lamar Jackson is doubtful with a hamstring injury. And Cooper Rush looks like he's going to get the nod in this game. Remember, Cooper Rush, coming from Central Michigan, he's in his 8th year. He's 31. And Cooper filled in last year for the Dallas Cowboys. So God bless to Lamar Jackson. Hopefully he gets healthy. Again, backup quarterback. So look to the backfield and look to the tight end. So I'm going to say look to Derrick Henry. I would say look to Zay Flowers as a wide receiver too, because maybe they'll have some sets where they just hand him the ball or do some reverses. And then Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Every quarterback's got their guy. So this might be a week where he goes more to Likely than he goes to Andrews because he's the backup quarterback and Likely is the backup tight end. So I don't know if I feel great about you going with Andrews or Likely. I have them both as a potential mid-range tight end 1. And Houston might win this game because Lamar Jackson isn't there, but their defense is going to have to come up strong, and that's why their defense is already good, but I think you should go with their defense and special teams. We're going to go to Miami at Carolina in a second, but I want to go to Notorious just said, I ended up dropping Fannin, like the kid a lot, but until the Browns quarterback situation settle, they can't trust him. Waller's going to step into a volume role with no Tyreek, a Dolphins shaky run game. Yeah, man, that's my thing. Like I said, I didn't want you to drop Fannin, but I wanted you to pick up Waller. I'm happy that Waller got going because I think he is an asset. I think he's good. I think he's strong. And I didn't anticipate that we were not going to see him. I didn't think that he was going to stay quiet for long. And I'm happy that he's not being quiet right now. So kudos to him and kudos to the work that he's doing. and just definitely appreciate him very, very much so. So speaking of Darren Waller, I think Darren Waller's got a lot to bring to the table, and I like that you got him. And like I said, I wanted you to get him. I just didn't want you to have to choose one over the other, but I understand your reasoning for it. And, I'm here for that. I'm not going to go against your reasoning for what you did there, Notorious. Frizz said, assuming Bucky doesn't play this week, I start Sean Tucker over Travion and Chase Brown. That's a difficult question because Tampa's going to Seattle and Travion is going to be on Sunday Night Football at Buffalo. And so, yeah. So Sean Tucker would be at Seattle. Travion Henderson would be at Buffalo. And then Chase Brown's going to be home against the Lions. That's a good question. That's a very good question because you really got to look at the matchup here right now. So let's go to Tampa Bay. And those of you that know me and know the work that I do, spent a lot of time talking with Sean Tucker, got to talk with him one-on-one. And remember that Rachaad White is there, and it's not just Sean Tucker that's there. So Rachaad White could very well get some time in this matchup. So I would say, and I just want to take a look at the injury report right now. So Bucky, questionable with an ankle injury. If he's able to go, then you play him. And then Sean Tucker, he was returning kicks. Rachaad White, yeah, I don't think you can trust in the volume for Sean Tucker right now, and you also have to monitor to see if Bucky's going to play or not. So Frizz, I would say between Chase Brown facing Detroit and Travion Henderson facing the Bills on Sunday Night Football, I would go with Travion. So if Bucky doesn't play of what you gave me, then I would go Travion. And we're going to take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios and inside the Fantasy Football Power Hour. NFL Week 5 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, where you can watch all the games all throughout the season and more on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And, of course, you can go for takeout and delivery by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. We'll be back with our next game, Miami at Carolina, right after this fast break on Wake Up Call. Stay with us.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, We are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios, and of course inside of this fantasy football power hour, the fantasy football power hour, not one of, not a, but the fantasy football power hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. And you can see the Wildcat by going to 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. You can see their massive screen that can be split into a bunch of different pieces. You can see their awesome, awesome atmosphere, their great food, and of course, their amazing bar that has plenty on tap. As always, drink responsibly and only if you are of age. So with that being said, head out to the Wildcat today, and thank you for being with us inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Next game up is the Miami Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers. And we're going to go to Miami first as they are the road team. Now, Miami's coming off a Monday night, so they have a little bit less, right? You're coming off a Monday night and you're playing on Sunday, so a little bit less time than Carolina had to get ready for this game. But Miami's coming off a victory. However, they're coming off a victory without their guy in the unfortunate Tyreek Hill ACL, and just having his injury in general is really sad to see. So prayers and hopes that he will be well and stay well, and that he will have a full recovery by the grace of God, that everything will work out. In Jesus' most precious name we pray, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. For all our prayers this morning and early afternoon, and always and forever. Amen. Amen. To you, God, always and forever. So with that being said, let's take a look at Miami. So without having Tyreek Hill, of course, Jalen Waddle, he jumps up. But now is it going to be Dwayne Eskridge or Malik Washington or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine or Taj Washington? Who's going to step up? So I think, Miami's playing Carolina. So even though they're without Tyreek Hill, that first week without Tyreek Hill, they're playing a team that, has been not playing that well, except for their ability to beat Atlanta 30-0, which was crazy. And they did that in Carolina. So I would say for Miami, I would go Devon Achane in this game. I would look at Ollie Gordon II, maybe in a deep league where you can flex out and have, a running back 3 or running back 4 even, that I would maybe look at putting him out there. But yeah, I mean, they just won over the Jets. They got their first win of the season. The Jets stay winless, and Miami gets a victory. I mean, Achane, 20 for 99, 5 yards a carry and a touchdown. Ollie Gordon, 6 carries for 10 yards, 1.7 yards a carry, but did get involved, and he was targeted once in the passing game, didn't catch it. Achane caught one of the 2 thrown his way, and then, Malik Washington and Nick Westbrook both had at least 1 catch. Malik had 2. Nick caught the only one thrown his way. Malik caught 2 of the 3 thrown in his direction. Darren Waller caught 3 of the 4 for 27 yards. So I would say Devon Achane I feel the best about, Jalen Waddle and Darren Waller, and I would maybe take a look at Ollie Gordon II, and then just monitor how those other receivers do for Miami. On the other side of it, looking at Carolina, I would say, and again, it's like, Dan, why'd you slow down your speech when you looked at Carolina? Because they're also 1-3, and Carolina just lost at New England 42-13. I thought Drake May would have himself a good game, and he did against a bad team. Now, Bryce Young went 18 for 30, touchdown and no interceptions. Andy Dalton went 5 of 6 for a touchdown and no interceptions. And I mean, Carolina, Chuba, 10 for 49, 4.9 yards a carry. Tetaroa keeps doing his thing. And Tommy Tremble stepped it up. How about it? The older brother of Jamie Tremble, who was playing tight end for Syracuse, is now playing linebacker and had his first collegiate sack this season, which was huge. And so shout out to the Tremble family. And 8 targets, 5 catches for Tommy Tremble, 42 yards and a touchdown. Mitchell Evans had a touchdown as well. 3 catches on 4 targets. And Mitchell is another tight end on the team. So we saw, 2 tight ends get involved. And then Chuba out of the backfield caught all 3 thrown his way for 20 yards. And like I said, he had the 10 carries. And then Travis Etienne's younger brother, Trevor Etienne, 7 carries, 33 yards, 4.7 yards a carry. I mean, playing Miami, I would say Chuba is a low-end 2, high-end 3 at running back. I like Tetaroa McMillan. I've liked him since we were starting off the college season last year when he was an Arizona Wildcat. So, Jatavian Sanders on the injury report, and God willing, he'll be able to go. He's got an ankle injury which left him questionable. Tommy Tremble could be a sneaky pickup and putting them out there. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1 this week, but I do like Teterow and McMillan, and then I'm going to call Chuba a low end 2, high end 3 at running back. And so we'll move on from there to our next game. And if you have a question, send it in to us. Send it into any one of our feeds. So you can pick us up by simply going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, or wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So make sure that you look us up there, and you can send in your questions on any one of those outlets. And if you're watching the show on playback, then make sure that you respond to the specific video so that I know that your question came in and that it alerts me. And of course, if you're watching live, then send your question in because we can answer it instantaneously as we talk in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So the next game that we have is going to take us to the what did the boom say? Raiders. And so Papa Joe, perfect timing here, because PJ, him and I always do the Raiders thing here, and he's off this week because he's traveling, so he'll be off for tomorrow. And he texted me while I was doing the Raiders. It's almost like he could sense me in the air. And so he said, Judge can't throw, Sox will try him every time. And so, yeah, sad to see them lose. And I'm actually going to text him back right now. And so I'm going to tell him this. You must have known that we were talking about the Raiders, because while I was doing the Raider call is exactly when you texted me. So shout out to Papa Joe. We love you. And we look forward to talking with him a couple weeks from now, as he's going to be traveling with MT and going to visit some family and going on a little vacation, which they both should do, and go have some fun, because they always help out everybody else and do for everybody else. So it'll be nice to see them out there doing their thing. So excited for that, and definitely looking forward to talking with him. So the Raiders at the Colts. Let's go to the Raiders first. So for Las Vegas, now keep in mind, taking a look at the Raiders and the Colts, the Raiders right now are 1-3. They're in last place of the AFC West. They're the only team in the AFC West that has less than 2 wins. And then the Colts are the exact opposite of the Raiders. They're 3-1, but they just lost their most recent game to the Rams, whereas the Las Vegas Raiders, they won their first game and have lost 3 in a row. So they're literally the opposite. The Raiders are 1-3. The Colts are 3-1. The Colts started out 3-0 and lost their last game. The Raiders started out 1-0 and lost their last 3. So not only do they have total opposite records, but total opposite ways they've gone about it. And not just having 3 losses, but having them be the last 3. And the Colts not just having 3 wins, but having it be the first 3. So as we take a look at the Raiders right now, obviously our prayers go out to Miller, who has a fracture and an ankle sprain. For their left tackle, Colton Miller. Left tackle's your blind side, so it's important to make note of that, and God willing, he will heal up and be okay very, very soon. You don't like seeing anything like that happen with anybody, and I don't like talking about injuries because I just feel bad for everyone that's out there. So taking a look at the backfield, Ashton Genty, Raheem Mostert is there with him. And in this last game against the Bears, they lost 25-24, and that was at home in Vegas. In that game, Geno went 14-21, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And then Genty, 21, 138, 1 touchdown rushing. I believe that's Ashton Genty's first 100-yard game as an NFL player, and it is. He had 38 in his debut, first game of the season for the Raiders at the Patriots. So he had 38 yards in his first game, and then Ashton Genty had 43 against the Chargers at home, 63 against the Commanders on the road, and then 138 against the Bears at home. It was also the most carries he's had, which is 21. He's had 17 or more in 3 of 4 games, and 21 is the most that he's had. and he scored in his debut in the NFL against the Patriots. So only having 38 yards and 2 yards a carry, he did score, and he scored in the game against Chicago. So worth noting there. And he has caught a couple passes. He caught 2 passes against Chicago out of the backfield, and both of them, he had 2 targets, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns to go with that 1 touchdown on the ground. So, I mean, obviously, Ashton Genty is worth the play. Put him out there. Now, Raheem Mostert, to say what he's done most recently here, even though he's behind Ashton Genty, Raheem had 4 carries for 62 yards, and he was targeted once and caught a pass for 11 yards out of the backfield. So obviously I like Ashton Genty, and Jacoby Myers is good for PPR, and Brock Bowers is doing his thing. So I like Brock Bowers as well. And then looking on the other side for the Colts, what I really like is I'm a big fan of Brock Bowers, but I'm also a fan of Tyler Warren. Brock was a rookie recently, and Tyler Warren is a rookie right now for the Indianapolis Colts. And so Daniel Jones has been doing well. I like Jonathan Taylor in the game. I like Tyler Warren. I thought he would eventually take over, and he just had his first career touchdown. And I believe that I was telling you recently here to put Tyler Warren out. I moved him into my starting lineup. So there's something to look at there. I do think Tyler Warren's going to make a splash. And I love that Brock Bowers and Tyler Warren are both going to be showcased in this game against each other. So I definitely watch this game and watch out for both of these tight ends. And then Michael Pittman was targeted 10 times, caught 5, 41 yards and a touchdown. Adonai Mitchell has gotten more involved. Tyler Warren, 6 targets, caught 5, had 70 yards for the rookie tight end. So, and Jonathan Taylor, 17 carries, 76 yards, 4.5 yards a carry, and he was targeted 5 times out of the backfield, caught all 5 of those. So really good for PPR. So like I said, I like Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren. And then, I mean, Michael Pittman Jr., I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 right now, and we'll go from there. The next game we have up, if you have a question, make sure you send it in to us, because we're always happy to answer your questions. We've answered your questions that have come in already this morning. If you have any other ones, make sure you send them in so that I can answer them. But let's go on to the next game, and that's going to be the Giants, who didn't look bad with Jackson Dart, got their first win, and the Saints, who gave Buffalo fits in a game that, those are those games that you circle when it's like, oh, that game is definitely a win for this team and this team's awful. Those are the ones you got to circle or go, yep, that game might be the one that throws you off. The ones that look like they're easy, like you don't even have to, it's almost like God just wants to remind you that there is no such thing as a sure thing, except for his love for you. So Jackson Dart does have a hamstring injury, which sucks because he just had his first start, and the hamstring is a nagging injury. So God willing, it doesn't nag him, and God willing, he's able to go. If Jackson Dart is able to go, this might be a week where you would put him out there. I mean, I'd like it if he was full go health, because maybe you have Jordan Love, or maybe you have Aaron Rodgers, or maybe you have Michael Penix Jr., so this would be the week you want to put him out there. Tyler, I saw your question. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll answer your question in just a second. So if Dart is able to go, you could look at putting him out there. I'm going to call him a low-range quarterback 1, and I like Cam Scatterbo, whoever the quarterback is. I like Scatterbo. God willing, Tyrone Tracy Jr. will be okay, but I told you Scats was going to take over, and I had that without Tracy being injured. I just thought Scatterbo was going to take over, and I like what he's doing. I told you Wendell Robinson was a guy to look out for, because every quarterback has their guy. And now with Malik Neighbors out on injured reserve, and God willing, he'll heal quickly and be okay. Now Wendell Robinson becomes even more important. So remember last week when I told you not to drop Wendell Robinson? Well, okay, remember those things. Bo Collins, who I got to speak with, who is related to Deion Goggins, who played for Syracuse. Bo Collins, the rookie wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Make sure you monitor Bo and Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton, because somebody's going to have to step up. But in this game, I like Wendell Robinson. I like Theo Johnson. I'm going to call him a mid-range. I'm going to call him a mid to low. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. Wendell Robinson, Cam Scatterbo, I think are worth the play here. For New Orleans, Alvin Kamara. I like Kendre Miller as maybe a running back 3, like a flex out running back. So you could look at him at that position. I know Kendre, I was seeing him out there more for New Orleans, getting involved more. Now, New Orleans is 0-4, and the Giants are 1-3. So good game for the Giants to play, but the Saints look like they may be trying to figure things out and get a little bit better here. Chris Olave threw only one touchdown pass, the wide receiver did, and it was an interception. But looking at Kendre, he had 11 carries, 65 yards, and a rushing touchdown. And Kamara had 15 carries for 70 yards. And so Kendre Miller had almost as many yards on 4 less carries and had the rushing touchdown. So I would say against the Giants defense, Kamara and Kendre Miller, probably both of them are worth the play. I like Juwan Johnson because he's finally getting the ball. And so Spencer Rattler, maybe he's the guy that's finally going to make Juwan more consistent. Caught all 3 thrown his way for 28 yards. I never thought it was that Juwan wasn't talented. It was just that New Orleans got a million different quarterbacks that have come in these last few years, and it's hard to get comfortable. And some guys would look to him and then not look to him, and then they would switch quarterback, and maybe that guy didn't look at him at all. So Rashid Shaheed, 5 targets, 4 catches, 47 yards. Against the Giants, I like Shaheed. I'm going to call him a 2. I'll call Olave a 1. I'll call Shaheed a 2. I like Kamara and Kendre, and I like Juwan Johnson because they're playing the Giants defense. Now, we did have a question come in here from Tyler. And Tyler, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your question, trade Kittle for Rice. I have Juwan and Waller. I mean, if you want to take a flyer on Rashee Rice, you can. I mean, George Kittle hasn't been what he used to be, but Rashee Rice. The thing about, well, you know what? I'll ask you this right now, Tyler. Who's available in free agency? That's what I want to know. But if you can trade for Rashee Rice, maybe you do it, right? High risk, high reward. He comes in, steps in after not being out there, and maybe he does some great things. I mean, feet to the fire right now, I would say, yeah, that's okay because I like the tight ends that you have. So I would say go ahead and trade for Rashee, but I was just interested to know if there's any free agents out there. But taking a flyer on Rashee Rice could be a good thing for you. Now, Chef Anabi, Chef, thanks for joining us here. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's see what we got for you, Chef. Any moves you should make. Half PPR, 10-man, you're 1-3. Okay, so you got Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel. Okay. DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, and Jaden Reed on IR. Then you have Genty, Achane, Judkins. Okay. All right, I mean, so you got David Montgomery, Kenneth Walker III. I mean, I don't think you have a bad team right now. But, I mean, you have Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as well. So, any moves you should make. Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, Nico Deebo. I mean, I'd be okay with you. Is Jaden Reed in an IR spot, or is he still counting against your bench? Because if he's counting against your bench, then I would tell you to move him. So, Chef, let me know that. And when you ask if any move should be made, it's important for me to know who's available in free agency. So let me know who the best available wide receivers and running backs are, and then, okay, he's in your IR spot, so he's not taking up a spot on your bench. If he was taking up a spot on your bench, then I would say get rid of him. But because he's not counting against your bench, then we would have to do something else. So let me know the you meant trade-wise? Well, I mean, that depends on if someone's offering you a trade, man. The best advice I can give you when you say, are there any moves you should make? It would be if you actually have a trade that is out there, that is potential, that you send me that direct trade, and then I can tell you if I'm for or against it. Or you can tell me the best available players in free agency and on the waiver wire, and then I can tell you if it's worth making that move. So I can't just simply say, yeah, you should move this guy, because I don't know what the trade would be, and I don't know what you would get in return. And I can't tell you to drop somebody unless I know who's out there, because if there's nobody out there better than that player, I'm going to tell you to keep that player. So someone offer you Swift for Monty. Nah, I wouldn't do it. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are way too talented, and they've shown that you can have a two-back system where both guys can eat and eat well. So I would not make that specific trade. That one I would say no. But if there's another, if there's, I mean, whatever you got, Chef, send it over to me, and make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if there's any potential trades like that one, let me know, and then I could directly tell you. For that trade specifically, I would say do not do it. And then let's go to the Cowboys with the Jets. And if we have anybody coming in or Chef sends us another one, we'll be happy to answer your questions and your thoughts here. So appreciate y'all for jumping onto the feed, and appreciate you for subscribing and hitting the notification bell. On Dallas' side of things, I like Javonte Williams in this game. CeeDee Lamb is out with his ankle injury. He could be back sooner than later, maybe next week. So God willing, he will be. We'll see. Now, Jalen Tolbert, in a deep league, I'd call him a wide receiver 4. I like George Pickens, I like Jake Ferguson, and I like Javonte Williams in this game. And then for the Jets, I like Breece Hall. And I like Breece Hall. but Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor, and Jason Taylor, by the way, the former defensive player for the Miami Dolphins in the same division as the Jets. His son is Mason Taylor, their tight end, their rookie tight end. So I want to take a look at the Jets and what they did. They're 0-4. They just lost to the Dolphins 27-21 on the road on Monday Night Football this week. This past week, but this physical week. Justin Fields went 20-27, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 226, 7 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown rushing. So they're playing Dallas. And again, if your quarterback's Aaron Rodgers and you also have Justin Fields, then maybe you put out Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, he's so dynamic that I could see you put, or if you have Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, right? And Lamar, if he's not out there, then maybe you play Justin Fields this week. Garrett Wilson, I think, is worth the play. He did catch a touchdown, 8 targets, 6 catches, 82 yards. Mason Taylor, 7 targets, 5 catches, 65 yards. So, yeah, against the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to say Mason Taylor's a mid-range to low-end tight end 1. I like Garrett Wilson, and I like Breece Hall. And we got some more that came in here. So before we get, I'm excited about this game. I feel like when's the last time we even saw these teams play each other? Feels like it's been a million years. Denver at Philadelphia. And the way their logos are, the Bronco and the Eagle are facing each other and looking almost directly eye to eye, which is really cool. Let's get to Sir Brooks II. And Chef, thank you. If you get any other trades that come in, send them over to me and I can help you out here. Sir, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And Esteban, make sure to do the same as well. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. So if you haven't been here before, or if you have been but you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that here today. Sir said, being offered Scattaboo and Kittle for Waddle and Kelsey. It's a keeper league. Scat was taken with a 10th. He has Judkins, Jacobs, McCaffrey, Swift, and Scat. What do you think? I could use another running back. Well, sir, tell me who your running backs are. And that'll help me out. Like I always tell you, more information, the more information, the better. So tell me who you have at running back, sir, and then I can help you out with that one. Frizzle said, should I hold on to Blake Corum for drop to stash Jalen Coker? Need a wide receiver help, and I have Breece, Chase Brown, Travion, Woody Marks, Tajay Spears, so I don't know if I need to hold. You don't need to hold Blake Corum. But what other wide receivers are out there, Frizz? More information is good information. So what wide receivers are available? That'll help me answer your question. Sir said, so you have Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams. I'm guessing that's Travis Etienne and Woody Marks. Okay. For Waddle and Kelsey? No. Not for Waddle and Kelsey. Because they're offering you Kittle, who's injured, and they're offering you Scattaboo, which I like, but you're going to give up Waddle, who's now the number one receiver in Miami, and Travis Kelsey, and people are going to try and make you offers for Kelsey because Kansas City hasn't looked that great. So, and with Rashid Rice coming back, that could open up things for Kelsey a little bit more. So, I would not do that trade, sir, in my opinion. Yeah, I wouldn't do that trade. And then Esteban said ETN and Javonte for Taylor. Should I do it? Full team is Hampton, ETN, Javonte, Puka. You would trade. So Esteban, you would trade Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne for Mason Taylor? No. No. No on that trade. No on that trade, Esteban. I'm guessing you're a Jets fan. But no, do not do that. Jonathan Taylor? Oh, for Jonathan Taylor. I thought you were saying Mason Taylor. Okay. So you have Hampton, Etienne, Javonte. Okay. So they want you to trade ETN and Javonte for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I like you getting Jonathan Taylor, Esteban, but I don't like you giving up those two guys. Because Javonte's been doing well for Dallas, and ETN he does a lot of things for Jacksonville. So I would say, as much as I'm enticed for the Jonathan Taylor, I would ask them to throw somebody else in, Esteban. I would ask them to give you somebody else. Frizz said, other wide receivers out there, Malik Washington, Romeo Dubs, I own Matt Golden, and Mims. That's about it, 12-man PPR. So thank you for giving that to me. Should I hold on to Blake Corum? Okay. Trey Benson report just came in going to injured reserve. Yeah, that's sad. God bless him, and may he be okay and stay okay and heal quickly and completely by the grace of God in Jesus' name. For everybody that needs healing, no matter what that healing is. Amen. Yeah, I mean, whew. All right, Frizz. So, oh boy. So okay. Who are your other wide receivers, Frizz? That'll help me out. Who are the other wide receivers that you have? You told me the ones that are out there, but who do you have that's a wide receiver? Make sure you send that over to me, and then I'll answer your question. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, for that prayer for everyone to get well. In Jesus' most precious name, including all of you watching and listening, and including me and my loved ones, you and yours. God bless to all of us. Stuff bigger than football, man. Let's go to Denver at Philadelphia. Let's go Denver at Philadelphia. Then we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. So let's go Denver at Philly. And we'll do Denver first. Man, I like the matchup. These are two really dangerous teams. They're two teams you can't help to root for, right? If you don't have a dog in the race, it's kind of easy to root for these two teams. But I'm going to say, Bo Nix. Bo's been doing some good things. And I backed Bo when he came into the league. I backed him before he was even a starter. Frizz said, amen, brother. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that love. Appreciate that appreciation for God more than anything. So Frizz said, for context, my full wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Matthew Golden, Keon Coleman, and I'm guessing that's Darius Slayton. So you want to pick up Jalen Coker, and then you gave me some of the other ones. So Jalen Coker statistically Let's look at where he's at right now. Oh, no, he's on the IR. Never mind. Wait, so you're saying you're dropping Jalen Coker? What did he write to me? Should I hold on to Blake Gordon for drop to stash Jalen Coker? And then you told me the other ones out there, Malik Washington, Romeo Dubs, and Marvin Mims. I'd probably... Wait, should I drop Blake Corum to pick up Amari Demercado or Michael Carter? Right, because you're looking at Arizona right now with Trey Benson going out. Man, that stinks for Trey Benson. I mean, he's a rookie and he just got the opportunity. That stinks. All right, so let's take a look here. So Amari Demercado or Michael Carter. I would say Demercado. If I had to pick, I'd say Demercado right now. That's the guy I would go with. If I had to choose amongst what's available. That would be where I would go. There you go. Yeah, because Blake Corum, I mean, you could probably let go of him right now. He's behind Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams doing awesome stuff. So yeah, so Bo Nix. Let's look at Bo, as I was talking about him before, and how the Denver Broncos are doing. So they won their first game, lost the two in the middle, and won their last game. So their bread is good, but their sandwich meat is bad. And so they're 29-42, 326, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for Bo in the last game. JK got over 100 yards. RJ Harvey got 16 carries. RJ got 14. JK got 16. So very close there. As I told you, I think that RJ Harvey may end up becoming the number one back. Marvin Mims got a touchdown on the ground. He also got 6 targets, 6 catches, 69 yards. Cortland Sutton had a touchdown, 6 targets, 5 catches, 81 yards. Troy Franklin is, Bo Nix's teammate from Oregon, 8 targets. He had the most targets on the team, 4 catches, 55 yards. RJ Harvey had a touchdown out of the backfield to go with 4 catches on 5 targets and 40 yards. So Harvey finished just shy of 100 all-purpose yards with 98, which is great to see because I predicted that he'd be out there doing his thing. So, yeah, I would say I like RJ Harvey more than J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to call RJ a running back 2. I'm going to call J.K. a lower-end running back 2 right behind RJ Harvey. And then I like Cortland Sutton as a wide receiver 2. I like Troy Franklin as a flex for you. I like Evan Engram as a low-end, tight-end 1 flex. And Bo Nix, I'm going to call him. He's on the road in Philly. I don't know if I'd play him in this game. And then on the other side, I like Jalen Hurts. I like Saquon Barkley. I like A.J. Brown. I like Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. So that just kind of rolls off the tongue, right? Philly's got a lot of stuff, but Denver does too. So make sure you pay attention to both. And we did have a comment that came in here from our chef. And so we're going to get to that before we get to Tennessee at Arizona, which I think is going to be an ugly game. But let's take a look at this. So, yeah, Matt said Benson's on IR. Yeah, we just talked about that, Maddie, so appreciate that. Benson getting put on IR, very unfortunately. And then Chef said drop Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for Demercado. Benson's on IR. I would say, I'd say go Demercado. I guess to answer both of your questions, Chef and Frizz, go Demercado. Right? They're going to have to run the ball with somebody. So I would say go with Amari Demercado. Let's go to Tennessee at Arizona. We're going to Tennessee first, and then we'll head over to Arizona. So Tennessee being the road team, Cam Ward is not mincing words on how he thinks his team is doing right now. Alec Iomanner is the rookie wide receiver that he looked comfortable with. Cam Ward did in the preseason. That's why I drafted Iomanner as my 6th and final wide receiver. So I think that might be one of the developing bright spots for Tennessee, who has struggled for sure so far. And, I mean, Chef, I like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but I understand the Demercado move. I think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt could step it up here. We know Austin Eckler's out, and God willing, he'll be okay soon. So, I mean, I would tell you Demercado, but I do like JCM. So, Tony Pollard in the loss 26-0 to Houston, 14 carries, 64 yards. Io Manor, 7 targets, led the team by more than double anybody else. The closest to him, Calvin Ridley, had 3 targets, and Tony Pollard had 3 out of the backfield. He caught all 3, though. So, I mean, the only guys I tell you to play from Tennessee right now are Alec Io Manor and Tony Pollard. I'm going to call Tony Pollard a running back 3, a flex. I'm going to call Io Manor a wide receiver 4, a flex. For Arizona against Tennessee, I like Kyler Murray. If you're going to play him in any of the weeks, this week, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and probably Amari Demercado that I would put out there because they're playing Tennessee and they're playing at home. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll get to Tampa at Seattle, which has already been discussed a little bit here on the show. And we'll have plenty more coming up inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, including answering the Smitty's question, which I just saw come in, and any other questions that come in. This is the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, NFL Week 5, 2025-26 season. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicoli's.com. That's myaviccollis.com. For takeout delivery and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. We sit here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and we discuss our favorite teams, our favorite players, who's on our fantasy team. Well, what gets you closer to it than being able to bring something home, right? A relic card, an autograph card, a 101, a rookie card, a graded card of these players that we're talking about, these teams that we absolutely love. Make sure you head over to GG Cards and Breaks today and be a big kid, because collecting cards, it's something that just brings people together. Sports is a true place, and it's one of the only places where total strangers will talk with each other, and then all of a sudden they go from total strangers to the best man at your wedding. And that is the power of sports. It's the power of just bringing a community together. And going to GG Cards and Breaks does exactly that. It brings the community together. All different ages, people who have collected, who haven't collected, who collected football but never baseball, and now they're into baseball. And so now they start going there, or they never collected sports cards. They've only collected Pokemon and Disney Lorcana, but now they're getting into collecting their favorite player or their favorite team. So make sure you head out to GG Cards and Breaks today and fan the kid spirit that we should all always protect. And Josh Anthony and the team do a great job of that over at GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. I also want to give a very special thank you to Chick-fil-A DeWitt. You can head out to Chick-fil-A DeWitt today on the corner of Bridge and Erie. They have so many awesome things, including that new. I am anybody that knows me knows that I am a sucker for when you put a pretzel roll on anything. So Chick-fil-A with that pretzel cheddar club, the limited time entree, and you can get it 3 different ways. So your favorite boneless breasted chicken on a toasted pretzel bun with cheddar cheese, applewood smoked bacon, lettuce, tomato, and creamy Dijon mustard. And you can get the original pretzel cheddar club, the grilled pretzel cheddar club, or the spicy. So you can get that original, which is the original chicken, right? That original fried chicken that they have for you at Chick-fil-A. And so you can get the original, the spicy, or you can have it grilled. They're all available to you, and I'm going to be putting those pictures up today just to make y'all hungry on our social media. But head over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge and Erie to see Megan Sorber and her team and try that limited time entree of the pretzel cheddar club, either original, spicy, or grilled. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, time to get into the next piece here that we have in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub here in NFL Week 5 of the 2025-26 season. We're inside of the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Make sure you go and visit Great Lakes Honda City for new and used vehicles to buy and to lease. Do it all at Great Lakes Honda City. So Rushman said, Smitty, where? So Smitty is the Smitty who asked the question. So the question that came in here, start 2 running backs, Woody Marks, David Montgomery, Travion Henderson, or Rashad White. Good questions coming in and perfect timing as we're discussing Tampa. So I would say if Bucky's going to be out, then I like Rashad White. So let me get to Smitty here. So Smitty, if Bucky and Rushman said, thanks, Mr. Wake Up. You're welcome. So Smitty, so if Bucky is out, then I would say Rashad White. And you said you got to start 2. Who's Woody Marks playing? Baltimore? No. And then David Montgomery. Yeah. So I would say Rashad and David Montgomery. So yeah, so we're going with David Montgomery. So that's what I would say, Smitty. I would say go with, if Bucky is out, and you have to monitor that and make sure you know, but if Bucky is indeed out, of the guys you gave me, I would go with Rashad White, and I would go with David Montgomery, a little bit above Travion Henderson. And you're welcome, sir. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being here with us all the time. Really do appreciate you very much. Rushman, you said you're new here. Nothing wrong with that. We welcome our newbies all the time, and we had a bunch that came on here today. So Rushman, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. So if you hit that notification bell and make sure to subscribe, we appreciate it. If you got a question, Rushman, make sure you send it over to us. Then the Smitty said, what if Bucky is in? Well, if Bucky is in, then I would tell you to go David Montgomery and Travion Henderson. And Rushman said, subbed and liked. Appreciate you, sir. Very much so. So, Smitty, hopefully that answers your question. If Bucky plays and if Bucky doesn't play, I gave you both of those avenues on where I would go. So let's go to Tampa. And if Bucky does play, then I would tell you to put Bucky out there. He is questionable with an ankle injury. Hopefully he's going to be okay. Smitty said, thanks. You are welcome. As always, my good sir. Happy to help you. And thank you for being here. So, yeah, I mean, Tampa's going to Seattle. Baker, 22 of 40, 289, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So I would say I'm going to call Baker a mid-range quarterback 1 because he finds ways to win, but I don't know if he's going to be like your massive point getter. But Seattle at 3-1 hasn't been great, but they haven't been horrible. So, and you got Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, 2 guys that were counted out, and look at what they're doing. So I'm excited for that. And Teddy Bridgewater also counted out, and he's right behind Baker in Tampa. So hopefully we see Teddy on get an opportunity, but not taking it from Baker, because that would probably mean Baker is injured, and we don't want that for anybody. So I would say I'm going to call Baker a mid to low range quarterback 1. If Bucky's able to go, I play Bucky. If he's not, I play Rashad White. I like Emeka Ibuka. I like Chris Godwin. And then Mike Evans is out for this game, so just make a note of that. And then on Seattle's side of it, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was the third guy, and you were wondering, is he ever going to get the ball? Behind Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and now Lockett and Metcalf are both gone, and who's the number 1 guy, and who are people talking about? Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, and Torrey Horton is a rookie. He's done some things. But, in this matchup against Tampa, I'm going to call Sam Darnold a quarterback 2, but I'm going to be watching him closely. I like Kenneth Walker III, and I like Jackson Smith and Jigba in this game. And then I would say Cooper Kupp. I want to take a look at Cooper most recently. So Seattle lost their first game. They're on a 3-game winning streak, which is huge. And they just beat Arizona, came back to beat Arizona in division AFC West 23-20. Darnold had 1 touchdown, 18 of 26, 242, no interceptions. Charbonnet had a touchdown, 12 for 39, 3.3 yards a carry. Kenneth Walker, 19 carries, 81, 4.3 yards a carry. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 5 targets, 4 catches, 79 yards. Kenneth Walker had a catch out of the 2 thrown his way. Cooper Kupp, 5 targets, 4 catches, 26 yards. A.J. Barner had a touchdown on 3 targets, catching all 3 of them for the tight end drafted last year to Seattle. Round 4, pick 121 overall. Speaking of A.J. Barner out of Michigan. So, Rushman, I did get your message that came in here, so give us 1 second. So, yeah. So, for Seattle, I like Kenneth Walker III. Maybe you flex Zach Charbonnet. The thing is, he's not a guy that gets you a ton of yards necessarily, but he may get you in the end zone. So I would say flex him out. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba I like. And Cooper Kupp, I might call Cooper Kupp a flex this week as well, because I think Tampa's a good team. So the next one we're going to go to is Detroit at Cincinnati. But before we get there, Rushman said, Bridgewater's still in the league. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I covered him in college when he came to the Dome, and Louisville was highly ranked and Syracuse was not, and Syracuse beat Teddy Bridgewater and Louisville in the Dome. They played against each other in the Big East. They also play against each other inside of the ACC. So let's go ahead and jump right into the next game, and we'll go Detroit at Cincinnati. Cincinnati coming off of Monday Night Football, and they're going to be playing on Sunday later in the day. And so we'll go to Detroit here first because they're the road team. In this game, I like Jared Goff. I'm going to call him a mid-range QB1. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I like David Montgomery. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like Jamison Williams and Sam Laporta. And then on the other side of it for Cincinnati, I'm bummed that Joe Burrow is out. He's expected to return potentially in week 15. God willing, he does. He has a toe injury right now, and that's really sad. I don't like that at all. And so I like Jamar Chase in the matchup because, Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. T. Higgins, I'll put a little bit behind him. And Jamar Chase, to me, like I said, I feel really good about it. Even though they just lost on Monday night 28-3 on the road to the Broncos. Chase Brown, he had 10 carries, 40 yards, 4 yards a carry. T. Higgins caught 3. Chase caught 3. Jamar caught 5. Jamar was targeted the most with 8. So if it's PPR, then T, Chase, and Jamar all give you some value. Jake Browning, 14 of 25, 125, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So, they're playing Detroit. I like Detroit's defense in this game. I'm going to call Chase Brown a low-end running back 2. Jamar's still a wide receiver 1. I'm going to call Higgins I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 this week. And then let's go to Washington. It's hard to believe that Jane Daniels has been out for 2 weeks and we're already into the next week here, man. Monday to Wednesday, it just feels like it's a lot more than 2 days. So let's go Commanders at the Chargers. We'll do Commanders first, being the road team. Here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Head to the Wildcat to watch all these games and more by going to 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. They're open 7 days a week. If you are not going to watch on location, but you're going to watch from home, well, you can order Takeout and Delivery from the Wildcat by calling 315-487-2222. So make sure you do that today. And, of course, we are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We got a message that came in from Juan Pena. So, Juan, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here. And definitely appreciate you being here, man. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And then let's take a look at what you're asking us. What do we got here for you? So, do I drop Chubb for Rachaad White or Demercado? I have Taylor, Jacobs, Charbonnet, Henderson, Gainwell, or do I drop anybody off the bench? That's a good question. I know a guy that I'm circling right now that I would maybe drop, but let me take a look. I just want to take a look at a couple things here before I for sure tell you that yes, do that. So, well, he's getting more involved, so I don't know if I'd take him out. So, okay. So what I would say is, Juan, thank you for the question. I would drop Chubb for Demercado, maybe starting for a longer period of time, but I like Rachaad White right now. Oh, man, that's a good question because right now I'm saying Rachaad White, but then once Bucky's back, then I would say Demercado. And Demercado's playing Tennessee, and Demercado may have more time out there because of the injuries to multiple guys in the backfield. So, Juan, I'm going to say Demercado because short and long term, where I think Rachaad is more short term. Let's take a look at Washington. Jaden Daniels, he is medically cleared and practicing fully, so hopefully we'll see him. I think this could be a really good game because I really like Jaden Daniels and I really like Justin Herbert. So I'm going to say Jaden Daniels. Listen, he's on his way back, so let's call him a mid-range quarterback 1 this week. Ja'Cory Cross-Key Merritt, I'm going to call him a low-end 2, high-end 3, so maybe a flex out. Running back Terry McLaurin is still on the injury report with the quad injury. God willing, he's able to go. If not, then I'm going Debo and Zach Ertz, especially if Terry's out. I think Zach Ertz has even more value to your fantasy team. And then Justin Herbert, I like in this, and I like Amarian Hampton as, I'm going to call him a running back 2. And then Ladd McConkey, I like him in the game. And Keenan Allen, I'm going to call Ladd a 1, Keenan a 2, Quentin Johnston a flex 3. And guess what? My guy, Oronde Gadsden, that played for my hometown of Syracuse, New York, I drafted late in one of our drafts, and I'm a huge fan of Oronde Gadsden II, one of the best guys out there, a rookie that was given an opportunity with the Chargers, and I'm not surprised that he is where he is right now. I'm sad that Will Dissly is out, and God willing, he'll be okay coming off of that knee injury, and hopefully he'll be able to play in this game, and hopefully with him playing, we would still see Oronde Gadsden. But either way, Oronde Gadsden getting some time. Lost 21-18, the Chargers did on the road at MetLife against the Giants. But my guy Oronde Gadsden, 2 catches on 3 targets for 16 yards. He wears number 86. Look out for Oronde Gadsden this week with the Syracuse Orange. He's been in 2 games. He had 5 catches on 7 targets for 48 yards against Denver in a 23-20 win, and in a close loss to the Giants this past week on the road. 2 catches, 3 targets for 16 yards. So he's got 7 catches in 2 games, 10 targets, and 62 yards for the tight end, rookie Oronde Gadsden II, whose father played wide receiver in the NFL, and many people know him for playing for the Miami Dolphins. So shout out to Oronde. That could be a little sneaky guy to put out there if you need a tight end, or if you play 2 tight ends, or you got another flex position. He could be a guy to go get on the waiver wire, probably in free agency even, and put him out there, and people would be like, man, how'd you find out about that? Right here on Wake Up Call. So happy to help you. Juan said 3 wide receiver league for my running back 2 and flex spot. Jacobs is on a bye. Chubb, Henderson, Charbonnet, Rashad, White, Demercado. Wide receivers, Addison, Hollywood, Thornton, Devontae Adams, Quentin Johnson, Debo are my 3 starters. Okay. So you have a running back 2 and a flex spot. Okay. So Juan, what are you asking me here? Are you telling me you need a running back 2 and a flex guy? I'm guessing that's what you're saying, because you said 3 wide receiver league and you told me you're 3 wide receiver starters. So are you looking for a running back 2 and a flex 1? Just let me know so I can answer your question. Because if you running back 2 and flex. So who's your running back 1? That would help me too. So yeah, let me know what you're exactly asking me, Juan, and then let me know who your RB1 is if you've already put them in their slot, so I can make sure I answer your question correctly. Let's go on to the next game as we await Juan. We're going to go to Sunday Night Football, and the Patriots at the Bills. Big time game here. Remember when Tom Brady was on the Patriots and they would face the Bills and they're like, there's no chance the Bills are going to win, but then the Bills, the Jets, and or the Dolphins would find a way to steal one. One of those teams would win, or 2 of those teams would win, because they would just find a way, even though one would think that they shouldn't be able to find a way because the Patriots were so good with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick together. Well, the Patriots just beat the Panthers 42-13, and that actually started things off with the Super Bowl run for Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady was a win over the Panthers years ago. And Drake May, 14-17, 2 touchdowns in the game, no picks. And so let's take a look at New England. They're playing the Bills. So Travion Henderson, I would say, is a flex. And then Ramondre Stevenson, I would also put as a flex, both of those running backs. Stephon Diggs returns to Buffalo. I wonder how that's going to go. They're probably going to look to shut him down. But when a guy returns to their old team, they either play really, really well or they somewhat disappear. So I'm going to say Diggs is a flex. And then I'm going to say that Hunter Henry might be the guy you go to for this game. By the way, Mac Hollins is returning to Buffalo. So he played really well for them last year down the stretch, and now he's returning as a member of New England. Josh Allen's worth the play. James Cook's worth the play. Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid. I like them all. I like Coleman a little bit more than Shakir for that. And like I said, Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, flex them out, but either one of them could be dangerous in the game. Don't count out New England, but I do think Buffalo will win. Monday Night Football, Jacksonville doesn't get a whole lot of Monday night opportunities, but they're getting this one. Kansas City at Jacksonville. And so let's go into this final game. Juan, make sure that you send me exactly what you're asking me, and if you already have your running back 1 set, so I can answer your question. Let's go to Kansas City. I like Pat Mahomes in the game, and I would say Now, Rashee Rice is suspended until week 7. So, I mean, Xavier Worthy is good to go. Hollywood's there. I'm going to call Hollywood a low end 2, high end 3. I'm going to call Worthy a 2. I'm going to call Travis Kelce their best receiving option. And like I said, I like Pat Mahomes. I'll come back to the running game in a second. And then I like Travis Etienne Jr. in this game. I like Brian Thomas Jr. in the game. I like Brenton Strange as a mid to low end tight end 1. Travis Hunter is a true flex. I'm going to call him like a 4. But, I mean, to me, he's a true flex right now. It's just how often are they going to use him on both sides of the coin. But let's go to the rushing attack of Kansas City just for a second here, because I want to take a look at that. The thing with Kansas City is they find ways to win without necessarily ever having like a number 1 wide receiver since Tyreek Hill left. And it's been Travis Kelce if it's been anybody, and he's a tight end, not a wide receiver. And then, the rushing attack has been by committee. So, I mean, that's what it was this past week. Kareem Hunt had 13 carries. Isaiah Pacheco had 7 carries. The wide receiver Worthy had 2 carries. Then you had Rashad Smith, who had 4 carries. Pat Mahomes had 4. Gardner Minshew came in for a couple carries as the backup quarterback. So, I mean, it really is a by committee thing. And shout out to Rashard Smith, who comes from SMU, and so did Rashee Rice. So the teammates wearing red for Kansas City. And then, receiving, it was Xavier Worthy and Kelce. Hollywood, 5 targets, 3 catches. He had a touchdown, though. Juju had a touchdown. Pacheco out of the backfield had a touchdown. But every single week it seems to be different with Kansas City. So, I mean, I could tell you that they're playing Jacksonville. I like Pacheco in the game. I'm going to call him a running back 2. I like Worthy, like I said. Hollywood, I would probably... I'd probably call him a flex, like a low end 2, high end 3. And I like Kelce. I don't know why people want to give up on Kelce. And then, like I said, I like ETN, Brian Thomas Jr., Brenton Strange, and to flex out Travis Hunter is how I would look at this week. So with that being said, and Juan, make sure you send me that so we can answer your question. I don't want to miss it. But this has been week 5 of our NFL coverage here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour. And we got another one that came in here. Keg Carr. Should I trade Waddle and Chase Brown for Nico Collins? I would say no. Because why would you want to get rid of Jalen Waddle, who's going to spend the rest of the year as the number 1 guy for Miami? And I think even if there's a different quarterback, if they try somebody else besides Tua, I still think he's the top target. So him and Darren Waller. But Juan, I didn't hear back from you, so and Keg, make sure to subscribe. But I would say no on the trade. And then Juan, 3 wide receiver league for my running back 2 and flex spot. So of the guys you sent me, I would say Rachaad White for your running back 2. And then your flex, I would say Jordan Addison. But make sure that you write to me, Juan, because I don't want to miss anything. But I will give you that answer so you got something here in this broadcast. Once again, keep in mind, Atlanta, Chicago, as well as Green Bay and Pittsburgh are off. Don't play any of those players. It'll be a wasted week. And make sure you're always monitoring your team. If you need any help outside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, you can reach out to me on social media by going to Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. You can follow me on any one of those, and you can send me a direct message. So make sure that you do that. God bless each and every single one of you, and thank you for being with us inside of the Wildcat Sports Pub, bringing you this today. And I always appreciate the Wildcat. Go and watch all the games there and more on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus. And if you're staying at home or going to a friend's house, then make sure that you go for takeout and delivery to the Wildcat by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. Frizzle said, I dropped Blake Corum for Michael Carter, expecting he will be the early down back, while Demercado remains the third down back. Hope I'm right. Frizz, I would have went Demercado over Michael Carter because I think he's going to get more. So I would have went Demercado. If you could still do that, then I would make that switch. Many thanks to Paul Clark for being in our Laser Lounge and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College. And, of course, featuring the Laser Lounge every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So the next one will be Wednesday, October 15th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to Paul, Cross Country, and everything they're doing this season. I hope that they make history and that he continues to have a great time and have a great run today with your team, Paul. And many thanks to JB Reef Snyder for remembering his friend and teammate here on the show today in Lawrence Moten. And God bless to all of them. So, Swavey, I think that you followed us already. But if you haven't, make sure to do that. He said, trade Josh Allen and Jamar Chase for Bijan and A.J. Brown. Just lost Benson as a starter. I would ask you who your other starters are, but I would tell you to not trade Josh Allen and Jamar Chase. And then you have Love on the bench and Penix on waivers. Yeah. Swavey, let me know who your other running backs are, but I wouldn't do that. Frizz said Demercado got picked up soon as I went to open the app. So, yeah, I would have went Demercado. I think when whoever saw you pick up Michael Carter's like, holy crap, Demercado's still there, and then they went and got him. So, yeah, but we appreciate you all for being here. Thanks for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So appreciate you and thank you for being here where sports meets life. Of course, you'll find this episode and so much more on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So make sure that you do that. I did see that we got another question that came in, so I want to get to it. And so for KT, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell while you're here with us so that you'll be with us throughout the rest of the week. And, of course, when we do our fantasy football. And he said, flex, Demercado, Chase Brown, Pittman, or Waddle? That's a tough question. Swavey said he's subscribed. I figured you were, so thank you, Swavey. And so I would say 4K. Man, that's tough. I mean, I would say Waddle. Of the ones you gave me, I would say Waddle for you, 4KT. And make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And then Swavey said Henderson, Harvey, Tajay Spears, Sean Tucker, Kendre Miller. All right. I mean, RJ Harvey, I think, has the opportunity to be a starter. I think Henderson has the opportunity to do that. And Kendre Miller's getting more time, and Sean Tucker might as well. So I understand Bijan's enticing, but to give up Josh Allen is to give up like 50 points in a week. And to give up Jamar Chase when he can play well with any quarterback is a danger zone. So I don't think I would do that, Swavey, in my opinion. Maybe if they offer you something else and we can discuss that. Thank you to all of our wonderful supporters in Central and Upstate New York. Go and visit them. I would not promote them if I didn't believe in them. Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, 2 locations, Cazenovia in the country, beautiful, on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, and then also their awesome tap room, which I absolutely love doing our Wake Up Call Syracuse football home game day broadcasts, and that's on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Many thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, Game Point Sports Complex, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month where sports meets life here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Make sure you check out the Bobcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and we updated their page underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during Bearcat Time. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and their page has been updated underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your lasers every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So they were there today, and they'll be with us again on Wednesday, October 15th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Student athletes, coaches, and administration joining the show to tell the stories of the lasers up on the hill in Syracuse, New York. Find OCC on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. The lasers are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and their page has been updated underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, thanks for being with us. Thanks to Paul Clark. Thanks to JB Reef Snyder. Thanks to all of you. Thanks for being with us every week on Wednesday for fantasy football. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, God bless, no stress, do your best. Rest easy, my friend. God bless you, Lawrence, and to all your loved ones. We'll talk with you soon. Be well.